What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to assemble and pack your rock booth truss. So the first thing we're going to do for the assembly is set up our facade. So first we're going to take off these Velcro strips here that are keeping the whole facade together. Next you'll want to make sure that the facade is facing downwards on its feet, which are right here. So we gotta flip the facade over. But first I just wanted to show you guys how these feet are adjustable so that if you're working on an uneven surface, you can adjust these feet so that the facade will be even in your setup. So if you wanted to raise the feet, you're just going to twist each foot to the left, and that's gonna raise them up. And if you wanted to lower the feet, you're just gonna twist them to the right. So now that I got the feet all set up, I'm going to flip the facade upside down. So now all we have to do is unfold the facade by taking each end here and stretching it out just like this. Again, if you find the facade is uneven, you can use the feet at the bottom to adjust it. Once the facade is all set up, the next thing we can do is set up our large DJ table. To do that, we're gonna look for these screws here on the facade, and we're just going to loosen each one and take them off, just like this. Next, we're gonna take our DJ table and look for these hooks here. And if you look at the hooks, you'll see that there are these holes in the middle. So we're gonna line up these holes to the holes of the facade where we just took those screws out. So we're gonna make sure that the hooks catch the frame of the facade and line up to the holes of the facade. Once you do that, it should be completely even like you see here. So then we're gonna take the screws that we took out earlier and line them up to each of the holes here, and then just screw them on just like this. Now on the front of the facade, you'll notice these holes here that can be used for a TV mount. We actually sell a separate bundle that comes with the TV mount and a separate scrim that has the opening for the TV mount. So just keep in mind, if you wanted to use that TV mount setup, you can't use the scrims that come included with this bundle, so you'll have to get that TV mount bundle with the separate scrim. But we're just going with the standard setup today, so let's move on to the next part. So now that our DJ table is set up to the facade, the next thing we can do is set up the truss poles. So to start, we're gonna take the two poles that have the rubber feet on the bottom, and we're also going to need this hardware that comes with these black bolts and these black screw knobs. So with one pole at a time, I'm just going to line up these hooks here that have these square holes to the square holes here on the facade, just like this. So next we're gonna take two of our black bolts here, and we're gonna run the screw through the square holes here. And we recommend doing it from the outside of the facade so that the head is facing outwards. You'll also want to make sure that the square end of the head lines up to the square holes of the hooks. So once you have the bolts run through, you're going to take two of these screw knobs and screw them on to each end of the bolt, just like this. We're gonna do the same exact thing with the second pole here and the remaining hardware. So now that we've got these side poles attached to the facade, the next thing we're gonna want to do is attach the center poles. To do that, we're actually gonna want to join the two center poles together, just like this. Then to make sure that they stay together, we're gonna take one of our silver bolts here and one of our wing nuts. We're gonna take the bolt and run it through the center hole here, just like this. Then we're gonna take our wing nut and screw it onto the other side of the bolt. Now that we got the center pole all set up, we're going to attach it to the side poles here. To do that, we're gonna wanna loosen up these knobs here on each side of the center pole. Then we're gonna line up these openings to the top of each side pole like this and just guide it down. And then we're gonna tighten up these knobs to secure the center pole onto the side poles. Now we're gonna leave the truss down here for now so it makes it easier to set up our lights, but eventually when it comes time to raise the truss, we're gonna use these side knobs here on the side poles to lift up the truss, and then we'll be able to secure the height that we set it to by using the safety pins on the side poles. We're gonna come back around for that in a bit, but for now we're gonna go on to the next step, which is adding one of our scrims. So once you're all done with your booth, you can follow the steps in reverse to take it apart. Then once you have the truss pieces removed, you can put the pieces back into the smaller bag here, which is divided into 2 sections, so you can put 2 of these holes in per section, and there's also these Velcro straps inside to keep the rods still when you're moving them around. So I'm gonna take 2 pieces at a time and place them in just one of these sections. Then I'm gonna wrap these Velcro strips around the poles like this. I'm gonna do the same exact thing with the remaining holes like this. I can also place the hardware inside of the small bag, and once I have everything packed up, I'm gonna zip the bag up, and now I can pack up the rest of my items into the larger bag here. I'm gonna place the Facade inside first, then I'll pack up the larger table, then I'll pack up the smaller table, and lastly the 2 scrims. Once that's all packed, I can close up the bag and zip it up. And now I'm all set to take the booth out to my next gig or event, or to store it away. Each of these bags has carry handles so we can carry both at the same time. And the larger bag has this Velcro padding here that we can use to combine these 2 handles together so that it makes carrying and traveling a bit easier. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to assemble and pack your rock booth truss. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.